What's up, everyone? Thanks for tuning in for another episode of Two Car Garage. As you can see behind me, we have our 1965 Honda Dream project going on, and it is coming along quite well. You can see we have the front forks and fender, the headlight bucket, the swing arm is on in the back, we have the wiring harness in. It's getting closer and closer. So stay tuned, because this episode we're going to try to build our rear shocks, and they go together a little bit tricky. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do it. It'll probably involve that shop press back there, and we're going to try not to hurt ourselves. I'd also like to get done a bunch of the electrical, so the ignition coil, the starter solenoid, the regulator rectifier, and a lot of those are new modern pieces that need to be retrofitted a little bit. The battery tray doesn't have a top clamp, so I'm going to have to figure out a way to fabricate that up, and we're probably going to do a lot of other little things along the way as well. So sit back and enjoy. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe below. Thanks for watching. Shoot! Frickin'. Oh. Alright, the shocks are just about done now being assembled, with minor incidents and accidents. It was just a matter of figuring out how to best set them up in the press to not injure them or myself too much. So 10th time's a charm, and I got it figured out. Not easy to put together, the way you have to sort of compress them. But not too bad once you have it figured out. I do have a little bit of touch-up paint work to do on them, but that's sort of to be expected, especially when that one blew out of my press and could have taken my head off. So all things considered, I'll take it. What I'd like to do now is start working on some of the electrical that sits behind this cover over here. So we have the starter solenoid, the regulator rectifier, the ignition coil, couple other little pieces, I think. So normally it'd just be bolting it back up, but I'm using an aftermarket performance coil and wires and a new aftermarket regulator as well. So there might have to be a little bit of, fab work or something, but just building brackets or something. We'll see. Let's do it. So I'm going to try to make a bracket now so that this can mount sideways on its side. It was mounted like this with the nipples on it forward and the cover was hitting it. So I think if I can rotate it sideways, then the spark plug wires can still just exit the ports here go right into the hole where it's supposed to, and it'll hopefully be right up against. So all I need is 2 little 90-degree brackets right there to mount this up against. So let's go make those.
She's in love with him. Very much.
I think the electrics turned out great. You know, there's a lot of enthusiasts out there, and I'm one of them, but then there are some purists, and I am not one of those. A purist would have reused a lot or all of the old components, the old coil, or gotten a replacement coil, the old regulator, rectifier. I think people who are my age and my generation aren't too concerned about having everything original anymore. You know, like even when it comes to cars, we're not super concerned about having, you know, numbers matching everything. We just want something that when you turn the key or press the button, it starts and it runs well. So when you can use modern components that make it work better, why not? Especially when it comes to electronics, simply because the modern stuff works so much better. So even though this isn't super original anymore, it'll work a lot better than the original. And nobody will see it because it sits behind the cover here. So here we have the battery sitting on the battery tray. However, what we're missing is the top part that clamps the battery down. On this particular bike, really what it is a top clamp, but then also that's where the tool tray is. So the bike is missing it. It's unavailable, right? Unobtainable. Can't find it anywhere. So in the meantime, until I can find a replacement, maybe by posting on the forums or something like that, what I'm going to do is fab up a temporary replacement. We just have 2 holes here where the original one mounted to. So I'll just build a bracket that mounts to these existing holes, comes across, and then has a top piece that clamps down on it. So good to go. Just for funsies, even though we don't have the back wheel on yet, let's install the rear brake arm here, actuating arm. Alright, so along the same lines as installing the rear brake arm, we already have the rear torque bar installed. Now it's time to install the front torque bar as well. Remember, on these drum brakes, the drum hub can freely rotate, so the torque bar here just makes sure that it holds in place the whole brake drum as the rest of the wheel spins around it. Now let's do the rear axle adjusters. All right, everyone, thanks for tuning in for another week of Two Car Garage. We got a lot of work done this week, right? I mean, we built our rear shocks. It was a little tricky there for a while, but it's done. We're going to touch them up, put them on next week. Our electrical is pretty much all sorted, right? Next week, we're probably going to finish up our speedometer and rebuilding that, and then the front electrical's done. We installed our regulator rectifier, our starter solenoid, our ignition coils. Coming to the other side, we fabbed up our mount for the battery. Got a lot of great work done. Be sure you stay tuned and stick around for next week, though, as we start building our front and rear wheels from scratch. You'll see me lace them up. They're beautiful. The aluminum's hubs have been polished. We button up the last of the electrical next week, and we get one step closer to revealing and installing our engine. Thank you so much for watching another episode. Please comment, like, and subscribe below, and we'll see you next time.